Shadows of the Void. Previously, humanity's first foray into interstellar space ended in horror. Our attempts at peace and discovery were met with violence from an unknown species, the Vraellians, an advanced alien civilization that sees us as an existential threat. Now, with Earth at war and on the brink of annihilation, the Senthori have stepped in, though their aid is sparse and shrouded in mystery. As the Vraellian fleet closes in, Captain Elena Carter and a small diplomatic team head for the Senthori Dominion, clinging to the hope that an alliance or a negotiated peace might yet save Earth. Sol system, outer defense line. Neptune's orbit far from Earth's comforting blue glow. The black void around Neptune bristles with the wreckage of battle. Drifting hulks of warships float on silent axes, hulls gashed open, faint emergency lights flicker, reflecting off shattered metal that glitters like malevolent stars. On the bridge of the UEC warship Independence, Admiral Komarov stands behind a cracked viewport, coughing through acrid smoke. Sparks rain from overhead conduits, coolant hisses, forming pools on the deck. A tactical officer reads status reports from half-broken holographic interfaces. "Damn it," Komarov rasps. "We've lost the Durham and the Pioneer. What's the rest of the fleet's status?" "They just destroyed the Pacifica," replies the tactical officer, voice tight and rising with panic. "The Vraellians have broken through. Reinforcements are pinned around Titan." "Then we can't hold them," Komarov says, his hands gripping the edge of the console. Outside the viewport, vast Vraellian warships slice across the darkness. Beams of glowing energy spearing fragile human frigates. Human missiles detonate futilely against shimmering enemy shields, and watching from a cautious distance, drifting like ghosts in the darkness, are a handful of Senthori ships. Their turquoise hulls ripple with faint energy fields. They offer the barest sliver of help, a sensor jam here, an interception of a critical shot there, but remain otherwise maddeningly aloof. In his heart, Komarov senses a gathering doom. Earth's defenses teeter on the edge of collapse. The Senthori's so-called aid proves scarce. Desperation grows. Will Captain Carter's diplomatic gamble pay off before the Vraellians reach Earth's doorstep? In stark contrast to the chaos near Neptune, the small diplomatic vessel called the Ambassador traverses a corridor of swirling, distorted spacetime. The Senthori have provided an experimental FTL drive, and it hums below the deck plating with a strange resonance that sets every nerve on edge. Captain Elena Carter stands behind the pilot's seat. The air is tense with the silent worry of a crew who knows just how high the stakes are. Dr. Valerie Sato, science officer and accomplished xenobiologist, busies herself at a console, analyzing readings of gravitational fluctuations. A young diplomatic attaché looks up from a portable holotable. "Captain, do you trust them? The Senthori, I mean." Carter's gaze is distant. "Trust isn't a word I'd use, but they're our only hope. If we can't find a meaningful alliance, Earth and humanity won't stand a chance." Suddenly, the ship lurches. Alarms blare. Pilot Rashid Miller clamps both hands on the control yoke. "We've hit some sort of subspace interference. Drive's destabilizing. I'm trying to compensate." "Sato," Carter barks. "Route auxiliary power to containment fields." Dr. Sato's fingers fly across the console. "Containment fields at 70%, now 50. Come on, hold." Outside the forward screen, the swirling corridor of FTL space cracks like glass. A single blink reveals writhing darkness beyond. Something shifts in that abyss, too fast to see clearly, yet its presence is cold and predatory. Then with a spine-rattling jolt, the Ambassador stabilizes. The corridor reforms, reality snapping back into place as though a nightmare ended. Miller exhales shakily. "Almost lost it back there." Carter meets Dr. Sato's troubled eyes. "Let's hope that was just cosmic interference and not something else." With a final shimmer of turquoise energy, the Ambassador drops out of FTL near a stunning star whose flares dance in hypnotic patterns. The planet that orbits it, Avernathus, is a marvel of swirling silver clouds and aquamarine oceans. On the bridge, Dr. Sato lets out a quiet sound of awe. Atmospheric composition, so similar to Earth's, It's a perfect cradle for life. A chime echoes from the comm panel. A voice, melodic yet edged with something unsettling, fills the air. Welcome, human vessel ambassador. You approach Avernathes, capital of the Senthori Dominion. Your presence is anticipated. Maintain orbit. We will send an escort for your landing. Carter answers, her tone measured. We've come in peace, in hopes of a fruitful alliance. Silence, then the link cuts. Carter turns to the others, voice taut. All right, everyone, this is it. Stick to the diplomatic protocols. Let's hope they're eager to offer any additional aid or an alliance. Two sleek Senthori escorts appear, guiding the ambassador into low orbit over the shimmering planet. A beam of swirling energy then encases the craft in a controlled descent. The main city, a silver metropolis cradled by emerald seas, spreads beneath them. The ambassador lands gracefully on a polished platform atop one of the city's many spires. The architecture is wondrous, slender towers of metal and crystal, joined by walkways of shimmering light. Lush bioluminescent flora lines the streets far below. A formation of a dozen Senthori awaits. They wear metallic robes, each shimmering with the same turquoise hue as their ships, and their elongated skulls taper into thoughtful brows. One steps forward, bearing intricate markings upon slender features. I am Arch-Consul Vraellian, the being says in a voice that trills with an almost musical quality. Captain Elena Carter, Dr. Valerie Sato, we greet you. We trust your journey was without incident? Carter inclines her head. We appreciate the safe passage. Earth is under siege by the Vraellians. We seek your help, be it in technology or negotiation. Vraellian's black liquid eyes convey no emotion. You shall have an audience with the council. Follow they lead the humans through a grand hall of arches and shimmering columns. Senthori lines the edges, silent and watchful. When they reach a raised platform at the center, Vraellian speaks again. We know of the Vraellian aggression. However, we must proceed with caution. Their empire is vast. The Senthori Dominion values survival. Ours foremost. We will not risk open war unless necessary. Carter tries to contain her frustration. They've already made war on us. Surely you see that if they wipe out humanity, they may turn on you next? An uneasy silence. The Senthori, silent as statues, betray no obvious reaction. Dr. Sato steps up. We heard you've discovered possible weaknesses in Vraellian technology. We request defensive arms, an improved propulsion system, or mediation. Anything to tip the scales. Vraellian offers a cryptic smile. We have shared some gifts already. For the rest, the council must deliberate. Until then, we invite you to learn of our culture. Tonight, we reconvene. Soon, the humans find themselves in pristine guest quarters that glow with an uncanny organic light. The walls feel alive. Faint mechanical hums pulse beneath the surface. Carter confides in hushed tones. Something about this place, it's too perfect, too controlled. One of the diplomatic attachés nods, uneasy. It's like they're stalling. Dr. Sato glances around warily. We'll play along, but let's stay alert. They might be testing us, or hiding something even bigger than we realize. Low Earth orbit in UEC Command, Geneva. As Captain Carter and her team wander the immaculate Senthori halls, Earth's skies burn. Vraellian dreadnoughts loom closer to Earth's final line of defense, newly outfitted with partial Senthori shields that glow turquoise. But these improvements are not enough. Beams of searing energy slice through orbital stations. Railgun projectiles punch into one Vraellian cruiser, venting atmosphere. But a retaliatory barrage leaves human vessels crippled. Planet-based defense stations erupt in brilliant cascades of shrapnel. In the war room of the United Earth Coalition headquarters in Geneva, President Julian Osei stands surrounded by jittery holodisplays. A battered Admiral Komarov appears on one flickering screen. Any word from Captain Carter? The president demands. None, Komarov admits gravely. We know they reached the Senthori homeworld. After that, radio silence. President Osei exhales, dread carving new lines in her face. We can't hold out much longer. If the Senthori won't lend direct assistance soon, Earth, humanity won't survive. Kamarov's image flickers. Madam President, we have one last option. A hush falls. On the holotable, Kamarov reveals Project Obsidian Lance, a doomsday device derived from gleaned Vraellian technology, a weapon of indescribable destructive potential. President Osei's voice trembles, overshadowed by the memory of ancient nuclear horrors. I promised humanity would never again use such superweapons, but if it's that, or extinction, her words trail off, leaving the future of humanity precariously balanced between lethal invention and annihilation. Back on Avernathus, twin moons cast pale light over crystalline spires, sending shimmering reflections dancing across silver streets. In the humans' guest quarters, gloom settles. Captain Carter paces restlessly, scanning the quiet corridors outside. No word from the Senthori, one attaché murmurs. It's like they've forgotten us. Before Carter can reply, a faint glow appears beneath the door. Frowning, she opens it a crack. Lying against the wall is a lone Senthori, breathing in ragged gasps, a dark, luminescent fluid pooling around a deep wound. Humans, the Senthori rasps. They want you to fight, to stall the Vraellians, but buy time for them. The creature's voice falters, and with a final breath, it collapses. Dr. Sato kneels to check vitals, but it's too late. The luminous eyes go dark. Carter stands up, alarm pounding through her veins. Someone or something attacked this Senthori, she says. We need answers. The echo of footsteps resonates from around the corner. Senthori guards, scanning devices in hand. Carter signals for silence. The team steps back into the shadows as the guards discover the body and call for a retrieval unit. Once they pass, Carter whispers, "They're hiding something." "Dr. Sato, you're with me. Attaches, stand watch here." They slip into dimly lit corridors, hearts pounding with the certainty that they are trespassing where they should not be. Exploring deeper into the labyrinth beneath the Hall of Accord, Captain Carter and Dr. Sato come upon a research lab. Containment cells line the walls, each projecting ghostly holographic maps of star systems. Some that might be Earth's soul, others that appear Vraellian. A central console pulses with cryptic Senthori script. Dr. Sato sets up a handheld scanner, forcing a partial translation. Primary objective: stall human fleet destruction, maximize Vraellian attrition. Secondary objective: prevent human expansion, pass Sol, controlled collaboration only. Tertiary objective: harvest, corrupted text. Genetic potential? Carter reads in shock. They're not planning to save us. They just want us to wear down the Vraellians and harvest genetic potential? Oh, God, an alarm shrieks. The console's screen turns crimson, alerting the entire complex to their tampering. Red lights strobe overhead, and new footsteps close in from every corridor. "Run!" Dr. Sato hisses. They sprint into the labyrinth, claxons echoing. Doors slam with each corner they turn. At last, they skid to a halt before a tall, still figure, Arch-Consul Velerin. Flanked by armed Senthori guards, she regards them with eerie calm. "So you have discovered our policies," Velerin says. "Your presence has grown too curious. The Council will see you now, Captain Carter." Without another word, the guards raise elongated rifles, and flight is no longer an option. Within the Senthori Council chamber, energy restraints bind Carter's and Sato's wrists as they stand before the silent council. Valoran's expression remains serene, almost bored by their predicament. "Our Dominion's survival demands strategic alliances," she explains. "We aided you, yes, but only so you may bleed the Vraellians for us. We need not engage them directly if you and they wear each other down." Carter, teeth clenched, fights her bonds. "You're letting billions of humans die just to save yourselves?" Velerin flicks a glance at Dr. Sato. "We have bestowed you with technology enough to fight back. We will join in open war only when the Vraellian Empire is suitably weakened. Additionally," her eyes narrow, "we find your genetic adaptability interesting." "Is that what the harvest mention was?" Sato demands, horror creeping into her voice. Velerin dismisses the question with a faint smile. "That is a matter for the future. Now we release you from custody. Return to Earth. Take what you can from us. Survive if you can. That is all. The shimmering restraints vanish. Carter rubs her wrists, an anger sharper than any weapon coursing through her. But there are no options here. They are hopelessly outnumbered, and humanity's survival is waning. We'll be on our way, she says bitterly. Under the watchful eyes of dozens of Senthori guards and technicians, Carter's team boards the Ambassador. Senthori workers install additional modules on the FTL array. Arch-Consul Valoran looks on, arms folded in regal composure. We have enhanced your jump drive further, she says, and improved your power distribution. A final gesture of goodwill. Captain Carter forces herself to nod. We'll remember. Inside, Dr. Sato examines the modifications. They've definitely upgraded us. But I'm detecting some hidden subroutine. Maybe a tracker or data siphon? Carter exhales. They'll be monitoring our every move. Let's hope we can turn it against them someday. The engines ignite, and the Ambassador rises from the glimmering spire. Glancing back through a porthole, Carter sees Valoran gazing up from a balcony, her expression detached, almost serene. Then the planet's shimmering skyline fades away, replaced by the cold comfort of starlight. Armed with reluctant gifts and dark truths, Captain Carter departs the Senthori capital. Earth's fate remains uncertain, while the Senthori reveal themselves as distant masters pulling away at hidden strings. With time running out, Carter's next destination can only be to return to Earth. Dread begins to consume her, much like the rest of her crew, a dread of what the may be returning to the unknown fate of her home and of that of her people. Earth orbit hours later. The Ambassador drops from FTL into a nightmare. Hulks of destroyed stations and ships clutter Earth's orbit. Fires rage across the continents visible below. Waves of enemy craft roam the void, picking off the last defenders. Dear God, Carter breathes into the stunned silence. Through the comm system comes a frantic voice. This is Sentinel Dawn. We can't hold them any longer. They're heading for the surface. The transmission ends in a burst of static. Carter sets her jaw. We head to Geneva. We still have to deliver these new technologies. Maybe we can still help. Despite the onslaught of Vraellian interceptors, the Ambassador manages to slip through. Turquoise flares from the Senthori shield modifications deflect scattered enemy beams. They cut through the atmosphere, descending toward a burning Geneva. The UEC headquarters complex stands battered among smoking ruins. Anti-air turrets spit tracer fire into a sky roamed by Vraellian scouts. Civilians, soldiers, and drones scramble through rubble. Inside the war room, President Osei nearly collapses in relief at the sight of Captain Carter and Dr. Sato. Captain, you've come back. Did the Senthori agree to send reinforcements? Carter gives a hollow shake of her head. They gave us more tech, but no standing army. They want us to bleed the Vraellians on our own. We're pawns in their bigger plan. A heavy silence sinks in. Admiral Komarov, newly returned from the front lines, turns to a holo display depicting Project Obsidian Lance. We only have one move remaining, he says. Dr. Sato pales. That weapon's theoretical. We don't know what an uncontrolled Vraellian core detonation might do. It could devastate Earth, possibly the entire solar system. President Osei looks away from the projected casualties, scrolling across another screen. If that's the price of survival, what choice do we have? She inhales, steeling herself. Initiate final preparations. If we don't have Senthori support, we'll take our fate within our own hands, just as humanity has always done. High above Earth, in a secret orbital platform, stands Obsidian Lance, a fearsome contraption of black spires fed by stolen Vraellian reactor cores. The structure vibrates with lethal energy as technicians scramble to calibrate it. In the launch control chamber, Carter, Dr. Sato, Admiral Komarov, and a handful of specialists gather around the main console. Earth orbits below, battered yet still alive. Vraellian capital ships loom at the horizon. Carter's expression is grim. If we fire this, we become just like them. Komarov's voice is low. It's either this or extinction. A haggard technician calls out, Weapon array will be at full charge in 30 seconds. We're preparing to lock onto the Vraellian flagship. Dr. Sato monitors a side console, lines of data flickering. Stand by. Yes, the reactor's synchronizing. We'll have a 30-second window. The hum of the Lance's power grows deafening. All around, the station's metal girders tremble, protesting the strain. Just as Carter's hand hovers over the firing control, a sharp crackle intrudes on every frequency. Human vessel, stand down. On the main screen, a monstrous ship warps into view. Its design a twisted hybrid of Vraellian and Senthori aesthetics. Black plating etched with turquoise lines bristles with turret arrays. In a single pulse, it jams the Lance's targeting system. Sparks dance across the control panels. They're interfering, Komarov shouts, working the console. We've lost lock-on. The alien voice returns, layered with a menacing growl. Your destructive potential is unacceptable. Surrender your superweapon or be obliterated. A direct shot from the hybrid vessel slams into the platform. Alarms blare. Rents open in the station's hull, venting men and equipment into the void. We have to jettison the Lance core now, Carter yells. If it detonates here, the devastation on Earth will be catastrophic. But Dr. Sato grimaces at her readout. They're jamming our override systems. The Lance is going critical, and we can't safely eject it. Outside, battered human warships, joined strangely by a few late-arriving Senthori craft, begin a desperate assault on the hybrid vessel. The darkness erupts with the flashes of missiles and energy beams. Carter seizes manual override, fighting the system lockout. I can reset the Lance to delay detonation, but someone has to physically decouple it from the station. Komarov meets her gaze. It'll be lethal radiation inside that chamber. No time to argue, Carter says. Let's go. Down flickering corridors they run, the station groaning under constant bombardment. The air grows stiflingly hot as they near the Lance's reactor chamber. Marines force the hatch open, only to be met by the hum of swirling black energy and arcs of electricity dancing along the walls. Inside, the Lance's spires rotate in a lethal dance. Carter and Komarov wrestle with coupling rods, ignoring the radiation alarms screaming in their helmets. They finally succeed, unhinging the device from the station's power supply. The black reactor pulses ominously, seconds from meltdown. We can't just leave it here, Komarov says. We need a shuttle, a pilot to steer it away from Earth. Carter locks eyes with him. They both know what that implies. In a partially destroyed shuttle bay, with hull breaches cracking around them, Carter, Komarov, and two Marines lug the dangerously unstable Lance reactor into a small transport. Flames and sparks flicker in zero-G pockets. The Marines help seal the hatch. One of them touches Carter's arm. We'll hold the bay for as long as we can. Good luck. Carter climbs into the pilot's seat, Komarov at her side. Both are bloodied, exhausted, but resolute. You'll need help flying, Komarov mutters. I'm staying. With a roar of engines, the shuttle departs the station, weaving past drifting debris. The reactor's lethal hum reverberates through the hull. Earth glimmers in the background, a wounded planet in desperate need of salvation. Sato, can you hear me? Carter calls over the comms. We're taking the Lance away from Earth. Static crackles. Then Dr. Sato's voice, choked with emotion, replies, They're following you. The hybrid ship's locked on. Carter nods. That's what we want. The shuttle surges to full power, boosted by Senthori modifications. The monstrous hybrid vessel roars behind them, launching beams of dark turquoise energy towards them. The craft shudders under near misses. Alarms wail about hull integrity. Komarov's hands twitch on the co-pilot's console. We're losing life support, but we've cleared Earth gravity well. Carter sets the meltdown timer. Now or never. The shuttle abruptly cuts thrust, spinning around to face the oncoming hybrid ship. The Lance's reactor, at full critical mass, flares with a horrifying black glow from the cargo hold. The hybrid vessel attempts to veer away, but it's too late. For Earth, Komarov says softly. For Earth, Carter echoes. The meltdown trigger hits zero. A vast wave of dark energy explodes outward, swallowing shuttle and alien ship alike in a silent roar. Space distorts in a final cataclysmic flash. When it subsides, there is nothing. No sign of the shuttle, the Lance, or the enemy dreadnought. only drifting motes of ash in the faint echo of unimaginable power. In that moment, two souls offered everything to save billions, their fate near certain. Yet in sacrifice, they just may have broken the Vraellian onslaught. For now. Days later, shredded by the superweapons blast, the Vraellian fleet reels. Surviving ships limp away, disappearing into FTL. Earth's defenders, just as battered, manage a faint pursuit, uncertain if this signals a final retreat or merely a tactical withdrawal. Wreckage from the battle forms eerie rings around Earth. On the planet's surface, the slow, painful work of rebuilding begins. In the UEC headquarters in Geneva, Dr. Sato stands before President Osei, her expression haunted. "We confirm the hybrid ship's destruction," she reports quietly. "The shock wave forced the other Vraellian vessels to retreat for now. But we lost Captain Carter and Admiral Komarov. They're gone." President Osei's eyes brim with tears. "They saved us all, at the cost of their own lives." Across the war room, staffers bow their heads. Some weep softly, while others cling to gratitude that Earth, though scarred, had endured. "What of the Senthori?" someone asks. Dr. Sato's response is subdued. "They vanished from the battlefield just before the explosion. Whether they'll ever return, and under what terms, we can't be sure. But we know one thing. If they do, they won't be our saviors. We must prepare ourselves." That hybrid vessel proved there's more to the history of these two races than we previously believed. A flicker of hope emerges in the days that follow. Above Earth's battered skies, a new starship takes shape, the UEC Endeavor. Leaner than the Dauntless, it bears integrated Senthori technology gleaned from Carter's mission. Dr. Sato oversees the construction, stepping into a new role that merges her scientific expertise with the responsibilities of command. Gazing through the viewport at the incomplete hull, she thinks of Carter and Komarov, of the sacrifices made, of the intangible mysteries lurking in FTL space, and she vows that this time, humanity will be ready. We faced unimaginable horrors and treachery. We lost heroes we can never replace. But from fire and ruin, we have forged a new unity, a resolve to survive no matter what the void holds. The Senthori, the Vraellians, and those who might still lurk in the unseen corners of the galaxy, we stand ready. Endeavor is only the beginning of our next chapter. Alone, no more. For better or worse. From the vantage of space, the battered Earth still glows with the defiance of life. The new starship, Endeavor, rises slowly, its hull reflecting starlight in arcs of turquoise. It is a testament to tragedy and survival, to alliances that both salvage and betray, to the memory of the ones who dared to venture beyond the edge, and the shadows that still linger there. In the wake of Earth's narrow survival, new shadows stir at the galactic fringes. The Senthori bide their time, the Vraellians nurse their wounds and plan revenge. Captain Sato and the Endeavor prepare to venture once more into the uncertain depths of space. But can humanity truly find peace if even our allies have designs of their own? Or will we discover that, beyond the edge, even far greater horrors await?